Hi there, this is Adrienne Green, and today I have with me Heidi Rau with Invest in CHA with Keller Williams. Thank you so much for joining me today, Heidi.
Hey, Adrienne, thanks for having me.
So Heidi works in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Chattanooga's real estate market's been really hot right now, and a lot of investors are looking in Chattanooga. So Heidi's here to talk to us today about real estate investing in Chattanooga. So can you start by sharing your experience with this real estate investing in the area, Heidi?
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 4.5 years, and I've had three different investment properties myself personally. The one that I'm currently holding, I've flipped the property. I've had long-term renters in there. I've done the short-term rental thing. And most of the investors that I work with are from out of town, so I've got a lot of repeats with that and have just continued to help them locate properties and increase their portfolios.
Wonderful, thank you. It sounds like you have experience with everything we want to talk about today. So let's detail the investing opportunities in Chattanooga, and let's look at them in terms of those three categories of, fix and flip, short-term, and then long-term rentals. So let's start with fix and flip. What kind of fix and flip stuff are we seeing in the Chattanooga area?
Yeah, so the fix and flips, they can be a little bit trickier to find sometimes if you're looking at the retail end of it. I find a lot of deals through the wholesale lists that come through town, so that's a really great resource for it. So really, I mean, you just want to analyze the deal. There's certain formulas that myself and investors generally look at to see if it's a deal. And if it's a deal and it comes on the market retail, it's usually gone pretty quick. But really, yeah, it's just about the numbers, and I can share with you in a moment some different areas that I'm seeing some of that happen in. But that just kind of gives you a brief synopsis of the flipping potential in Chattanooga.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you. Now, what about short-term rentals in the area?
Okay, so the short-term rentals in Chattanooga, I've gone through a lot of this personally myself, and it's been kind of frustrating, in Chattanooga because they were kind of waiting to see what Nashville was going to do as far as their regulations and everything were going to be. So we went through a phase where they were telling everybody they were going to have to rezone to R3 or R4, and that created a big pushback because people didn't want anybody putting multifamily next to their single family house. But since then, it's gotten pretty streamlined, and they have a process for it. And I'll share that with you in a second, the website you can go to. But it's a pretty simple process. But unfortunately, at this point in time, it's also up in the air again because the land development office just happened to let me know a little information, and that is that the city council has on their docket that they may be doing away with the non-owner occupied short-term rentals. So if you already have one, you'd be grandfathered in, but any new permits would not be issued. Now, of course, that's still in the voting stages, so nothing's happening yet. And with this being an election year, it's probably not going to happen this year. But it is something to be conscious of if that's a way you want to invest and that's part of your business strategy.
No, that's great to know, and that's where it's nice to have that local knowledge to know what's going on there. Do you think that something like that would get passed by the city council?
So the city council has kind of had a little bit of an issue with Airbnb. It took a little bit of time for us to get them to warm up. But I think that just because of the climate that we have here and with so many people investing in Airbnb type properties, they would get a lot of pushback from that. Okay. So I don't know that it would necessarily pass, but it is interesting to know that they do have that kind of in the drafting stages and that they're going to try to propose that. So
yeah, that's really good to know. We've had some areas up here in Virginia recently pass similar legislation in different cities. So it's definitely around, and it is something to consider. Now, what about long-term rentals? How are they doing in Chattanooga?
Long-term rental market's pretty healthy. You can usually get a pretty good return on your investment with that, and there's opportunity to, if you do the BRRRR method, if you wanted to pull cash out equity on something and do some value add, there's a lot of opportunity for that here. And if you get into the small multifamily, your price per square for like duplexes and that sort of thing is obviously going to be a little bit better than the single family. So it's really just about what your long-term strategy is with the property and investing in it. If you're trying to flip it, maybe 5 or 6 years down the road, you'd probably lean more towards the single family rentals. Whereas, with the longer term holds, the cash that you can create coming from those smaller multifamilies is probably a lot more beneficial for sure.
That's really, really great to hear about, Heidi, because here in Northern Virginia, we don't even have multifamilies. Like, they don't exist for people to buy. And so, that's part of why I'm talking to you today, is to help my Northern Virginia investors here find opportunities outside of this area. So it's good to hear what you like those multifamilies for, and that they're available in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
So I know one other thing we talked about is you had a good idea about where development is going within the Chattanooga area, and you were going to share that with us.
Yeah, let me get my screen sharing going on here. You can tell them on my iPad. Hi, here's my hand. Okay, let's see here. Should be logging in here. All right, let me know if you can see me now.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to go over here. Okay, first thing I wanted to kind of share with everybody, because I'm really big on the East Ridge area. East Ridge, if you look it up by zip code, it's going to be your 37412 zip code area. And they were awarded the Border Region District Tax Incentive for commercial developers. So there's a lot of development that's going on out in East Ridge that has increased the property values out there. They've started to increase anyways. So it's interesting to know that. If you look at this map, well, first of all, if you can go to eastridgetennessee.gov and follow it over to the Business and Economic Development page to read a little bit more about the Border Region District if you want to get into all that. But if you click on this Border Region District map button down here, the link, it's going to take you over here, and it'll kind of show you, just from East Ridge standpoint, where all of that development is allowed to happen, where they can take advantage of these tax incentives commercially. So if you have any commercial investors, this is a really great opportunity for them. But basically what that incentive is doing is it's paying back the commercial developers for their costs to build and start their businesses in this district. So they get a portion of their sales tax revenue back over, I think it's until 2040. And we pre-negotiate that with the city of East Ridge ahead of time. So they give out their projections of what their revenue is going to be. And we negotiate on how much they're going to get back in sales tax revenue to pay back for the build and the development and all that. So right around all these areas, though, if you explore this map, is going to be the city of East Ridge. And there's a lot of property values that are starting to kind of, spike up over here. So it's a really good opportunity for flips. And it's a great opportunity for long-term rentals as well, and possibly even short-term rentals, maybe, if you wanted to look into that. But long-term rentals, I mean, if you held on to those for a few years, I would suspect you're probably going to get a pretty good increase on the property value there. The other thing I was going to show you is the short-term vacation rental site for Chattanooga. So if you go to chattanooga.gov and go over to the land development page, it's going to take you over here to the short-term vacation rental district. And there's a map on here, if you scroll down, that if you are interested in doing short-term rentals, you can click on this link and you can put the address in, and it's going to verify whether or not that's in the district. So this green area, I had to actually call. This is where I found out that they might be doing the thing with the non-owner occupied.
Okay.
By short-term rentals, because I had to call the land development office to figure out what the deal was with this map, because there's all these colors, but they don't have a key on here to tell you what they mean. So anyway, the green is the short-term vacation rental district that's in the city. And then if you get out here to this kind of tannish color, that is not included in the short-term vacation rental. Those are still city addresses, but not included in the district there. So you do have to be in the green district if you're in the city. And then outside of that, you're in Hamilton County, and they have a little bit different of a process for that. So those are two great resources to look at as far as, if you want to look at the development for East Ridge, and if you're wanting to look at the vacation rental issues that are going on in Chattanooga. Okay, and then when we're talking about development, let me show you on this map here from the MLS. So if we are looking at downtown Chattanooga right here, okay, some of the first development that started to happen, because downtown Chattanooga, let me say, back in the 60s was considered one of the dirtiest. I think it was actually voted the dirtiest city in all of America. It was a big manufacturing city,
Wow.
and it was just really run down. But several years back,
That's really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, no, now it's voted one of the best places to live. So hey, I mean, we made a really good comeback there.
Yeah.
But there were a group of investors that pulled their money together and helped kind of get the city going again and develop some grant programs and that sort of thing. But anyway, if you look over here in this area called North Shore, that was one of the first areas that really kind of started to see development after 2008 happened. So North Shore has seen a pretty good increase in property values, and Hill City is just another section of North Shore, but they've called it Hill City as well. And if you go north a little bit more, you're going to get into the Red Bank area, which runs right along Highway 27 here. And they've kind of latched on to that North Shore culture. So, I mean, the price per square foot over here in North Shore, North Chattanooga has gotten pretty crazy. It's like some places over 250 a square foot. And now you're getting into Red Bank, where it used to be kind of more of like the first time home buyer market. And a lot of people were going in and developing and renovating houses there and flipping them. So that's a good spot to be if you can get a deal there. Okay, so let me get back over here. So Highland Park area right here.
Mm-hmm.
If you can see Highland Park on my screen.
Yep.
Now, this was an area that was getting flipped and developed before 2008 happened, okay? So take a swig of water. But after the crash happened, it was kind of slow to get development happening over here again in Highland Park. So you had some pretty nice houses that got renovated, and it kind of just stopped, you know. They were very large, like historic looking homes. So anyway, after the whole market crashed and people started investing again, some money started going back into Highland Park. But another district that was interesting to people was the Southside Historic District, because it's kind of nearby and you could get property for a pretty decent price and renovate it. And there were some of those older, you know, 2-story historic looking homes.
Mm-hmm.
This market has gotten pretty saturated over in Southside.
Okay.
Lots of really, really nice, expensive properties there now. But what has kind of happened from what I've seen is the development has started to kind of move back towards Highland Park and down towards Ridgedale and all that. If you follow this East Main Street down, East Main Street goes right through Southside, and it's where all the shopping and everything is. And so now there's some development that's happened right across here where Central Avenue is over at Southside. If you cross over, now it's starting to kind of trickle this way. And Highland Park started to get really saturated. So what happened was some investors have started now to start moving into Orchard Knob. So I've seen a lot of investment happening over in Orchard Knob now. And there's still a lot of great deals that can happen there. And then also down here in Ridgedale, because it's right there next to Highland Park. So we've seen a lot of development with those. If you look at the map a little bit further, I'm just going to kind of show you where East Ridge is. So East Ridge is down here, kind of close to the Tennessee and Georgia border. Mm-hmm. And then right above that, you've got Brainerd. So I would suspect, just because of what's happening in East Ridge, the development happening there, that Brainerd's going to kind of latch onto that, much like Red Bank has been doing with North Shore. And that's kind of just my personal opinion on that. So there we go.
That's great. And I can't get over you have names for such relatively small areas of the city. So yeah, that's really like different than we have up here. So do all of those different areas have like a notably different look or culture to them?
Some of them are a little bit similar, but they have their own personalities, and you know, they've put in different mom and pop shops and family owned businesses and restaurants, which I mean have obviously taken a little bit of a hit right now because of the climate we're in. But yeah, I mean, the people of Chattanooga, I feel like in general, really, they're really big on community and community building. So having communities that you can feel a part of and you get connected into with the different kinds of family-owned businesses and stuff like that, it seems to be of great importance, and an overall personality trait, I guess, of Chattanoogans.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. You know, it's a decent sized city, but you still have very much that kind of small town neighborhood feel, it seems, which is neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, this is Heidi Rau with Invest in CHA with Keller Williams Realty. And Heidi, I really want to thank you for taking the time today to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thanks, Adrienne.
Of course. So I'll have all Heidi's information below. So if any investors want to reach out to her and learn more about Chattanooga, you can do so. And as always, thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to like it and subscribe. And that way you'll know when more videos come out. Thank you so much. Adrienne Green, Realtor here.